Behind the scenes of the NBA, some moments are more than just memorable plays. They mark the history of a franchise, turning a simple play into a symbol of change. That's what happened when Brandon Podziemski unexpectedly silenced one of the most historic arenas in the NBA. The young player, with a precise half-court shot as the clock expired, managed to capture everyone's attention, not only because of the spectacular nature of the play, but also because of what it represents for the future of the Golden State Warriors. The impact of this moment goes far beyond what the numbers can show. We're not just talking about a kid who did something big, but about a player who could be the key to the continuation of the Warriors' dynasty, even when names like Stephen Curry are at a different point in their careers. And the most impressive part? This might just be the beginning of his journey. Before we continue, if you haven't liked the video yet, take a moment to do so now. Because what we're witnessing here is not just about stats and plays, it's about the game at its deepest level, the essence of basketball and how it connects stories of overcoming adversity and achieving greatness. By subscribing, you join a group of fans who don't settle for just the surface, but understand the nuances and details that truly shape the sport. To understand what makes Podziemski so special, we need to look at what he represents for the Warriors. Let's take a step back in time. In 2018, the franchise was on the brink of collapse. They were trailing in the series against the Houston Rockets, down 3-2. For many, the Warriors' dynasty seemed about to come to an end. The criticism was heavy, and the famous style of play based on Stephen Curry appeared to have been figured out by opponents. The phrase, "the dynasty is dead," was repeated countless times. But in that moment of crisis, something stood out. Instead of succumbing to the pressure, the Warriors remembered what had always made them strong: identity, consistency, impeccable execution. In Games 6 and 7, they managed to turn the series around and silence the critics. It wasn't the end. It was just another page in a story that still had chapters to write. And once again, history repeated itself later. This time, the name was Andrew Wiggins. When he was acquired by the Warriors, many mocked the trade. To the critics, he was nothing more than a disposable piece. Nick Wright himself was clear in his words. "Andrew Wiggins is a bad player," he said. For many, the end of Curry's finals chances was sealed. But once again, those who paid close attention knew there was more to it. And what happened in 2022 proved those critics were completely wrong. Wiggins not only shut up the pessimists, but he was also decisive in the finals. By defending Luka Doncic and soaring for unforgettable dunks, he became a key piece in the title chase. That was Wiggins' redemption. And once again, the Warriors proved they know how to see value where others only see failure. Now we enter the story of Podziemski, who, at 22, is following that same path. The young player, barely mentioned in the draft, joined the Warriors with the mission of contributing, but what he has shown goes far beyond expectations. The game against the Lakers, where he hit 8 three-pointers, is just one proof of his potential, but it's not just the number of points that matters here. What stands out is the confidence with which he plays, his ability to position himself like a veteran, and the way he presents himself on the court, distributing passes and grabbing rebounds with the tenacity of an experienced forward. He may be young, but his understanding of the game and maturity are at an impressive level. This doesn't happen by chance. He dedicates himself, studies, and absorbs the Warriors' system, which demands more than just talent. It requires intelligence and a precise reading of the game, and that's what he has in abundance. By standing out against the Lakers, Podziemski did more than just play well. He sent a message to the league. It's not just about being a good player. He represents the continuation of the Warriors' vision, a franchise that has always known how to balance the talent of veterans with the evolution of promising young players. And with his performance, he seems to be the answer to those who questioned how the team would successfully make this transition. Brandon Podziemski's journey is not just a reflection of what the Warriors have been doing best over the years, but also a testament to how a franchise can reinvent itself without losing its identity. While some young players enter the league under the pressure of proving they can be the next star, Podziemski is already showing something rare. He doesn't want to be just another player. He wants to write his own story without imitating anyone. And with that, he is also helping the Warriors keep the dynasty flame alive. In times of transition, where veterans like Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson begin to show signs that the end of their careers is approaching, Podziemski emerges as a vital piece in the team's future. He is not just any bet. He is a bet that is working, a confirmation that the Warriors' vision for the future is not just a fantasy, it is already materializing. One detail worth noting is that in his second year in the league, Podziemski has already become one of the most decisive players on the team. He is the type of athlete who, at just 22 years old, already stands out for his ability to make good decisions, to lead, and to be a game changer in critical moments. It's no coincidence that he is the second youngest player in franchise history to hit 7 three-pointers in a single game. The first? None other than Stephen Curry. This is not a coincidence. It is a symbolic connection, a bridge between the present and the future. The relationship between Podziemski and Curry is just beginning, but it is already clear. Moreover, another aspect that places Podziemski in a separate category is his courage. During his rookie season, he led the league in offensive fouls drawn, which shows the type of player he is. One who is willing to sacrifice himself for the team, throw himself into challenging situations, and be at the eye of the storm without hesitation. And now, as he becomes a true offensive threat, he is proving that he has everything to be more than just a promise. He is consolidating himself as a key player on the Warriors roster, even in a time of changes and transitions. With this, Podziemski's story is perfectly intertwined with the current context of the team. In a scenario where the need to renew the roster is becoming increasingly evident, he presents himself as a natural bridge between the veterans and what is to come. And this is not just an advantage for the Warriors, it is a great advantage for the NBA as a whole, because it is rare to see a team successfully shape its future in such an efficient and well-planned way. But, as promising as Podziemski's future may be, the real twist in the NBA might be coming from another direction, and it could be directly linked to the return of a name everyone knows very well, Kevin Durant. Some say the Suns are on the brink of elimination in the play-in tournament, and Durant's absence has been a fatal blow to the team's chances. This situation has raised an important question behind the scenes. Is Durant's fit with the Suns truly ideal? Durant's talent has never been in question. However, the moment and the context in which he finds himself in Phoenix are starting to show that perhaps the solution is not to maintain the current structure. And this is a change that could affect the Warriors in an unexpected way, but one that could bring a new era to the franchise. The central point here is the quest for another title for the Warriors, as the time of Curry, Green, and Thompson runs out. What many have not realized is that, in a scenario of urgency, Durant could be exactly what the Warriors need to secure another championship before the current core breaks up. And this possibility becomes even more real when we consider a comment Durant made recently on Draymond Green's podcast, making it clear that if the timing had been different, he might have returned to the Warriors. This reignited the flame of the possibility of a new reunion between Durant and the Warriors, an idea that many consider unlikely, but one that makes perfect sense when analyzing the big picture. With the Golden State team needing another star to continue competing for the title, Durant is the type of player who could fit into the system without needing adaptation. He already knows the Warriors system. He has already won championships with them. And best of all, he wouldn't need to be the savior of the team. His presence would be an added strength to a team that already has a solid base. However, this possibility is not simple. For Durant to return to the Warriors, it would be necessary to give up some valuable pieces, such as Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, or even Brandon Podziemski. This would create a significant dilemma, as these young players are showing potential and have an important role in the future of the franchise. However, with Curry already 36 years old, the pressure to win another title before the cycle closes is immense. And, as difficult as it may be, sometimes it is necessary to sacrifice the future to ensure a title in the present. On the Suns' side, this trade could be beneficial, as acquiring young talents like Kuminga, Moody, and Podziemski could kickstart a more solid rebuild. These players, along with a potential draft pick, could form the foundation of a new era for Phoenix. And at the same time, Durant could finally return to a team where he feels comfortable, where he has had success, and where he doesn't have to carry the weight of being the only star. With the Warriors, he would have the chance to be another important piece in a well-oiled machine, alongside Curry and Draymond Green. The most fascinating part of this scenario is how it reflects the continuous cycle of changes and adaptations that define the NBA. Durant, who left the Warriors in 2019 to prove that he could win without the support of a superstructure, now finds himself in a situation where the only realistic option for another title might be returning to the place where he won much of his success. What seemed to be an attempt to accomplish something on his own is now transforming into a strategy of returning to the formula that has worked in the past. And for the Warriors, the need to return to that formula might be the only chance to extend the dynasty before it comes to an end. Ultimately, the NBA is about legacies, decisions, and sacrifices. The stories of players like Podziemski and Durant are intertwined in a way that could shape the future of the league in the coming years. Every decision, every move on and off the court could be the determining factor for the next big chapter in this story. The decision to return or not to the Warriors represents more than just a team choice for Kevin Durant. It is directly tied to the legacy he wants to leave in NBA history. Durant has always been seen as one of the best players of his generation, but his time in Golden State left an undeniable mark. Not only did he win 2 championships with the franchise, but he also helped solidify the dynasty that many believed was about to come to an end. Deep down, this return to the team he already knew may be exactly what he needs to complete his legacy. Not as the savior, but as a key piece in a team that could be on the verge of redefining championship expectations. For the Warriors, Durant's return wouldn't just be a move to secure another ring. It would be a strategic play, a way to reinforce a core that still has much to offer, but whose window of opportunity is also closing. With Curry already in his final years of peak performance, Draymond Green evolving into a more mature role, and the truth being that, without a star like Durant, it could be impossible. However, the trade that could bring Durant back to San Francisco would not be simple. It would require the Warriors to give up valuable assets such as Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and, in a twist that could not be overlooked, Brandon Podziemski. Podziemski's potential as the new face of the franchise is clear. As he has already shown early in his career, it's hard to look at him and not see a rising star. The fact that he has already connected symbolically with the team's history, breaking records and becoming decisive in key moments, makes his loss a true dilemma. Here, however, lies the big question. Are the Warriors willing to sacrifice their future for a title in the present? Podziemski, with his versatility and basketball IQ, is the embodiment of the team's future. He is on a promising path, but his maturity and playing style, impressive as they are, cannot guarantee the immediate impact that Durant can offer. Durant's talent and experience, even with his injuries and physical uncertainties, are on another level. If he is healthy and willing to fit into a more complementary role on the Warriors roster, he could be the final piece they need. The trade that many are imagining, involving Durant going to the Warriors and the Suns, receiving young talents and even draft picks, is not just a practical solution for both teams, but also a long-term move for the NBA as a whole. It signals one of the league's greatest dilemmas today: how to balance the relentless pursuit of immediate championships with the need to build a solid and sustainable future. If we think about it, the scenario that could unfold between Durant, the Warriors, and the Suns is a direct reflection of a trend we've seen for years in the NBA: the constant search for balance between the present and the future. While the Warriors may be tempted to sacrifice part of their future to secure another title with Curry, Durant, and Draymond Green, the Suns, on the other hand, are in a position where they need to think more long-term. Roster changes, the focus on developing young talent, and the desire to find a new identity are central points in Phoenix, where rebuilding is now the only possible path. Still, for Durant, The chance to return to the Warriors could be a golden opportunity to complete his career with another victory, but also to show that he has what it takes to win in different contexts. Throughout his career, Durant has always been seen as a player who could carry a franchise on his shoulders, but his titles with the Warriors showed that he also knew how to fit into an already established team, serving as one of the cornerstones for collective success, not just as the sole focus. Now, with the pressure of a team that already has a legacy and an ever-shrinking window to win more championships, Durant would need to embrace the idea of being a complementary piece, but a crucial one, as he was in 2017 and 2018. On the other hand, the Warriors also know that their dynasty, as we know it, is coming to an end. Curry, the heart of the team, is already in a later stage of his career, and the team needs to think about how to continue competing for titles without losing its essence. And that's where Podziemski comes into play. His ability to adjust, his understanding of the Warriors' system, and his willingness to learn and adapt are aspects that place him in a unique position to be one of the future stars of the franchise. However, he is still in his early years, and as expected, the future he may promise for the Warriors is uncertain, especially when compared to the immediate guarantee that a player like Durant could bring. The truth is that at this moment, the Warriors are facing a tough decision. Their future is in the hands of young players like Podziemski, Kuminga, and Moody. But the pressure to secure a title now, while Curry and Green are still at their peak, is undeniable. And this is a reality that the Warriors face constantly. The balance between keeping the dynasty alive and developing the new stars who will lead the team when the veterans step aside. And so, like everything in the NBA, the chess game continues. As franchises try to balance their title ambitions with building for the future, the impact of these decisions is not just short-term. What happens now could define the trajectory of an entire decade. For the Warriors, the possibility of bringing Kevin Durant back is tempting, but it is also fraught with uncertainties. Sacrificing valuable assets could be a risky move, but it's a move that makes sense if the goal is to ensure the dynasty continues for a little longer. However, the Warriors' history, marked by long-term vision and the ability to shape great players, suggests that, with or without Durant, they will be ready to face any challenge. The future may be in the hands of Podziemski and other young players, but the present still belongs to those who made the franchise what it is today. And in the end, that's the beauty of the NBA. The decisions we make today reverberate in the future, but also shape the legacy of an era. For Kai Sotto, the journey to the NBA is underway, and every step he takes is a reflection of the determination that has driven him since his first shots on the courts of the Philippines. His growth was not accidental, nor was it based solely on his physical attributes. It is the result of years of discipline, rigorous training, and above all, a mindset that refuses to settle. What sets Kai apart from other young talents is his ability to absorb learning and translate it into immediate action on the court. His most recent games in the B-League clearly demonstrate this evolution. Every play reveals a player who is not merely replicating movements but making conscious decisions, adapting to the dynamics of the game, and creating opportunities not just for himself, but also for his teammates. It is this game intelligence that makes his transition to the NBA so easy to imagine. In the game against Kyoto Hanarez, for instance, he gave a true lesson on how a modern center should play. He didn't limit himself to using his height to dominate the paint. He read the game, adjusted his positioning based on the opposing team's offensive movement, and knew how to exploit the spaces that appeared. His mid-range shots not only showed refined technique, but were also timely. He doesn't force plays. He knows the right moment to attack, and when it's more efficient to move the ball to find an open teammate. This technical and tactical mastery is something the Golden State Warriors deeply value. In the Californian team's system, game intelligence is just as important as individual skill. The Warriors' offensive rotation demands that everyone be in sync, that every movement be intentional. And Kai, with his sharp game reading and ability to contribute on both ends of the court, fits in like a chess piece carefully placed to disrupt the opponent. Moreover, the value of consistency must be recognized. Kai is about to reach impressive milestones in his career, with over 500 rebounds already accumulated in the B-League, nearly 1,000 points scored, and just steps away from reaching 100 assists. These numbers are not just representative of standout performances, but rather of a steady trajectory, of someone who shows up game after game, delivers results, and contributes to the collective. This consistency is exactly what many young players aspiring to the NBA lack. Many have talent, some have the necessary physique, but few can maintain a high level of performance over an entire season. Kai is showing that he is part of that select group that not only shines, but sustains that shine over time. The enthusiasm of Warriors fans over the possible arrival of Kai to the franchise is not just a fleeting excitement. It's a reflection of the understanding that for the team to remain competitive, quality renewal is essential. The league is constantly evolving, and even the most successful teams need to adapt. Kai represents this new generation of players who combine technique, physicality, and a competitive mindset, a perfect profile for a team seeking continued excellence. The atmosphere surrounding Kai on social media is a thermometer of the impact he is already having, even before stepping onto an NBA court. Videos of his plays go viral. Fans from the Philippines, Japan, and now the United States enthusiastically share his name. For the NBA, always looking to expand its market, the presence of a talent like Kai is doubly interesting. Beyond the technical impact, he brings with him a loyal and passionate audience, ready to follow him to any franchise that welcomes him. It's also important to highlight the cultural impact of this rise. Asian players are still underrepresented in the NBA, and the arrival of a talent like Kai opens doors, breaks barriers, and inspires a new generation of athletes who until now saw the American League as a distant dream. His success could very well redefine paradigms and create a new chapter in the history of global basketball. On the court, his performance in the third quarter against Kyoto, faking out two defenders, scoring under contact, and successfully completing the free throw, summarizes well who he is as an athlete. It's not just pure skill, it's courage, initiative, the ability to make decisions when the pressure is highest. That play could easily be featured in the NBA's top highlights of any game week. And it's that kind of moment that NBA franchises watch closely. Moments when a player takes responsibility and changes the course of a game. Kai is ready for that next step. The B-League was the perfect setting for him to develop, gain international experience, face more seasoned players, and test his limits. But now, with the dominance he has shown, it's evident that the level of challenge needs to rise, and there is no bigger nor more demanding stage than the NBA. The Golden State Warriors, in turn, are a franchise with a history of betting on talents with growth potential. They understand that it's not always necessary to go after an already established star, but rather to identify the player who, in the right environment, can become a central piece of the team's future. Kai represents that opportunity, an investment with potentially immense return. Kai's ability to act as a defensive anchor is one of his greatest assets. With long arms, sharp shot-blocking timing, and above-average positional awareness, he can be the center who protects the rim with authority, but also the player who initiates plays from the defensive end. In fast transitions, his ability to make the right pass, even under pressure, has already been tested and approved in the B-League. In a team like the Warriors, where defense often sparks offense, that skill would be a powerful weapon. At the same time, his development as a scorer is noteworthy. Kai is not a static big man who only finishes near the rim. He moves intelligently, knows how to position himself, and is gradually incorporating mid-range shots into his offensive arsenal. This versatility is a differential in a league increasingly based on spacing and movement. He can play with his back to the basket, but also stretch the floor and hit jump shots when needed. It is precisely this multifunctionality that makes him so desirable. Kai also possesses something that cannot be taught: presence. When he's on the court, he's noticed. Whether it's for his size, clutch plays, or the energy he transmits, he energizes the environment around him. Teammates play with more confidence, opponents must adjust their game, and fans pay closer attention. That aura is rare and precious. It's not just about basketball. It's about impact, how an athlete can alter the dynamics of a game or a franchise. For the Warriors, that presence is something that can be nurtured and maximized. In a team that values collective effort, Kai could find a space where his talent not only flourishes, but integrates harmoniously into an already well-established system. He wouldn't need to carry the team on his shoulders, but could develop surrounded by experienced players and a coaching staff that understands the value of polishing raw gems. And most importantly, Kai has a thirst for learning. His track record shows an athlete who is not content with the basics. Each season, he adds something new to his game. Be it in defensive reading, off-ball movement, or decision-making, Kai is constantly evolving. That mindset is the greatest asset a young player can have when entering the NBA. And that perhaps is what excites Golden State Warriors fans the most. The chance to witness the rise of a talent who is still far from his peak, but who already shows flashes of something special. A player who, with the right tools, could become one of the key pieces for the future of the franchise.